for the first question here, okay, based on the corresponding angle concept, you should know that AC is a straight line and the angle at the triangle there is 48. So since it is a straight line, 180 minus 48 will get you the P's results, which is 132. And for you to identify Q, simply run the interior angle triangle formula, which is 180 minus 55 minus 48. You will get your results as 77. Second part, the keyword is actually hidden in quadrilateral. A quadrilateral has a total interior angle of 360. Hence, by adding everything up, it should result in 360. So after you run the calculation, your X final result should be 74. As for question C, okay, the exterior angle plus interior angle is 180. So 360 over 72 plus interior angle equals to 180. So your interior angle after the calculation should be 175. For the part D question, my recommendation is to solve it according to the sequence that was given there. So you find U first. U here is actually a radius to a tangent line, which is OA to PQ. Based on the circle theorem concept, it should form a 90 degree at OAP and OAQ. So 90 degree minus 60, you should get U as 30. As for next part, to find V here, okay, so AC is a diameter, and angle from any diameter will form a 90 degree. So now that we have 30 degree and 90 degree, your V's result should be 180 minus 30 minus 90, which is 60 degree. As for to identify angle W, DCA equals to DBA. This is angle from the same sector, circle theorem. So your W will actually be 60 as well. Whereby for your X, okay, we are focusing on two parts, which is OAD and OBD. Okay, using the concept of angle at this center, angle at the center is twice the value of angle at the circumference. So 60 times 2, you will get 120. So for the last part, we will be looking at the triangle ADB. So DAB's angle will be 30 plus 20, which is 50. Okay, W is 60 itself. And for angle ADB, it is actually Y plus 30. So after you run the calculation, you should get your Y's as 40 degree. As for next part, okay, we are still using the angle at the center is twice the value of angle at the circumference. However, this time around it's at the reflex part. So AOC, the major sector, equals to twice of ABC, which is 10x. So 10x plus 3x plus 22 will equals to 360. So after calculation, you will get your x as 26. For question 2 here, okay, the keyword here is Alif received 600 more than mole, okay, which we can identify the difference in ratio, which is 2, 9 minus 7. So the 2 ratio equals to 600, hence 1 ratio is actually 300. So Ali equals 9 times 300 and mole equals to 7 times 300. The respective results is actually 2700 and 2100 respectively. As for part B, okay, the original price was 220 and it was having a sale, so original times discount equals to 220 minus 195.8. Reason being, we are calculating the discounted price. So 220 minus 195.8 divided by 220. Convert it into percentage, it should be 11%. As for the next part, okay, the 63 there is actually a new price, okay, and the original is an unknown, and it's only paying 75% of the original. So you take the 63 divided by 75%, you should get your original price, which is higher and results in 84. Question 3. Dina invested 600 for 5 years at a rate of 2% with a compound interest. So 600 times 102% to the power of 5. After correcting your answer to 3 significant figures, it should be 662. As for part B, keyword here is exponentially. Okay, so the 882 is actually the value of investment, which is capital plus interest earned. So capital times 105% to the power of 2 equals to 882. Capital should actually be 800 after the calculation. As for the next part, find the numbers of years for the rings value to increase from 882 to 1100. So 882 times 105% to the power of unknown equals to 1100. So I'm using logarithm here, which involves the concept of base, power, and results. To identify your power here, you're required to put your base at the lower section of the logarithm and the results as the value inside the bracket. So I then arrange the results into log with a base of 105%, and your results here is 1100 over 882 equals to your power, which is the numbers of years. So after the calculation, it's actually 4.5 years. So I round it up and fill out 5 years over there. I do recommend students to learn how to use logarithm because you can solve the question in a more versatile way. So question 4a, the external curve. Okay, so 2 times pi times r, which is 8 here, times h, which is 19. You will get the results of 304 pi, and after correcting it to 3 significant figures, it should be 955. So 955 times 0.85, then you will get the cost of painting this surface as 811.75. Section B, okay, it was being melted down to form a solid cone. So first I calculated the volume of sphere, which is 4 over 3 times pi times 6 cubed. You get 288 pi. So 1 over 3 times pi times r squared times h equals to 288 pi. Divide everything. Okay, do take note that your radius now was being changed to 8. So you should have no issue to prove that your height is actually 13.5. Question 2, calculate the slant height of this cone. Okay, we are using Pythagoras theorem here. We have already identified the height as 13.5 with a radius of 8. So unknown, which is slant height, equals to square root of 13.5 square plus 8 square. After correcting your answer to 3 significant figures, it should be 15.7. As for next part, calculate the curved surface area of the cone. A equals to pi times 8 times 15.7. After correcting your answer to 3 significant figures, it should be 394 centimeter square. Question C, okay, assessing you on mathematically similar concept. So for surface area, you're required to square root them, and for volume, you're required to cube root them. The method in mathematically similar topic that I'm using is the comparison method. So square root of 80 equals to cube root of 168 equals to square root of 180 over cube root of the large cone volume. So the large cone volume equals to cube root of 168 times square root of 180 over square root 80 and power that results in 3. So after the calculation, you should get your final results as 567. Question D, okay. So things that I did was to find bx first. Bx is actually half of bd, which is half times 8. It will turn out to be 4. So with px value and xb value, okay, which is the 5 cm and 4 cm respectively, they wanted to find the angle between PB and the base. So we will have your PX as its opposite and XB as its adjacent. So tangent PBX equals to opposite over adjacent. Angle PBX equals to tangent inverse 5 over 4. After correcting your answer to 3 significant figures, it should be 51.3. Question 5, Part A. So overall, I would treat this question as slightly tricky. Okay, things to take note for you to solve this is to know that average speed is actually the total distance divided by total time. We have the total distance information, however, we don't have the respective parts time taken to travel. All we have is the speed over there. So you're required to trace it back by taking the distance divided by the speed. Then you will get 60 seconds for B to C and 30 seconds for A to B. Okay, the time required for you to travel from A to C is unknown. Okay, so 150 plus 180 plus 120 divided by 60 seconds plus 30 seconds plus the unknown equals to 3.6, because the average speeds of the whole journey is 3.6. After calculation, you should get your A to C's time taken as 35 seconds. So your answer for C to A's speed is actually 150 divided by 35 seconds. After correcting your answer to 3 significant figures, it should be 4.29 meter per second. Part B, using cosine rule, find angle BAC. So since we have all 3 sides information, basically I'm just filling up the formula after the calculation and corrected it to 3 significant figures. Your answer should be 82.8. As for next part, the bearing of C from A is 210. Things to take note is that you actually calculated the angle of CABS 82.8. So for you to identify the bearing of B from A, simply takes 210 minus 82.8, you will get 127.2 as your final results. As for next part, to calculate the bearing of A from B, you're basically using the alternate angle formula. Okay, so from B there, I drew down a straight line which formed a 180 degree. Add it with the 127.2, then you will get the final results of bearing of A from B. As for the last part, D is a point on AC that's nearest to B. So I draw down a illustration over there. Okay, we already gotten CA's B results as 82.8 and we have AB distance as 120. So the point D to B is the opposite of 82.8 and 120 is the hypotenuse. So sine 82.8 equals to opposite over 120. So opposite is actually by taking sine 82.8 times 120, which after correcting it to three significant figures will result in 119. As for the next question, the median, so 200 times 50%, you will get 100th. From 100th, you trace it back, it should be 34 minutes. And for the interquartile range, you're required to calculate the 25% and 75%, which turn out to be 50th and 150th. Trace it back through the graph, you get 25 and 43, and their difference is 18 minutes. As for last part, the numbers of students who took more than 40 minutes. So from 40 minutes, you trace it back, it's actually 140. Okay, so 200 minus 140, you will get 60 students who take more than 40 minutes. Question B, part 1, finding the range. So the value of the cent is the highest is 50 and the lowest is 1. Hence the range here is 49 cents. Finding the mode, okay, value of a coin of 20 cents has 4 frequency, so which is the highest, hence your mode is 20 cents. Finding the median, since your cumulative frequency here is an odd number, so 15 plus 1 divided by 2, you will get 8 here. So 8 here fall under 10 cents. Work out the total value of Roberto's coin simply by taking the frequency multiplied by the respective cents value. Add them all up, it should turn out to be 220. So to find the mean, 220 divided by 15 because the total frequency count here is 15. Then you will get 14.7 cents as your mean. As for the next part, okay, things that I did was to calculate the respective frequency. Okay, frequency density equals the frequency over class interval. The class interval was given and the frequency density was also given as well. So you're required to run reverse calculation to identify the frequency of the respective group, which is 30, 40 and 30 respectively. As for question part A, okay, orange is 21 cents each. So Alex buy X amount of orange, Bobby buy 2 more than Alex. That's what the X plus 2 there indicates. So 21X is your Alex total amount spent. Okay, and for Bobby it will be 21 times bracket X plus 2 equals to your $4.20. However, you're required to change that into 420 cents. So after the calculation, you will get your X as 9. As for next part, okay, you're required to form a true formula here, which goes by 5R plus P equals to 245 and 2R plus 3P equals to 215. So from number 1, okay, I'm using the substitution method. So arrange it into P equals to 245 minus 5R. Then substitute it into the second equation. After the manual calculation, you should get your ruler's cost as 40 cents. As for protractor, it's actually 245 minus 5 times 40, which is 45 cents for the protractor. As for section C, okay, things to take note is that time equals to distance over speed. Okay, so 12 divided by x plus 6 divided by x plus 1 equals to 5 hours. So I first change their denominator into the same, which is x bracket x minus 1. bracket. So for the first fraction there, I'm required to multiply ax minus 1 into it, and for the second fraction, I'm required to multiply ax into it. After the rearrangement, which the detail was being shown there, you should have no issue to identify your final results of 5x squared minus 23x plus 12. So to factorize this, I break down 5x squared into 5x times x and 12 into 3 times 4. I cross multiply them, then I get 3x and 20x respectively. Then I fulfill the center requirement of negative 23x by putting negative on both of the results I've gotten. So I then factorize it into 5x minus 3 and x minus 4. The respective results is actually x equals to 4 or x equals to 3 over 5. Okay, section part 4 here, you're required to choose the x results that you have gotten and which one will be the valid value that you should substitute in. So based on the results that we have, 3 over 5 cannot be minused by 1 because it will have negative results. So automatically we eliminate that and chooses 4 to the substitution. So your walking speed for the last 6 kilometers is actually 2 km per hour. Question 8. Write down the probability that the numbers of dots on the cards is an even number. So 2, 4 and 2, 2 here. Okay, 4 out of 5 cards is even number. As for prime numbers here, same thing as well. 3, 2, 2, 2. Also 4 out of 5 cards is a prime numbers. As for part D, find the probability that the total numbers of dots is 5. So there's two conditions here. We add up to 5, which is first you draw a 3 followed by 2 or a 2 followed by a 3. Key information is actually hidden in the without replacement part, so you're required to change the denominator after each draw. So your final results 3 over 10. As for part 2, I actually listed down two methods for you to solve this. Method 1 is to list down all the possible combinations that when they add up is a odd number, which is 3, 2, 2, 3 or 3, 4 or 4, 3. The other alternative solution here is actually by taking the total probability minus all the conditions where it will form even number, which is 2, 2, 4, 2 and 2, 4. Personally, I would choose method 2, but it's an open option for you guys. Just choose whichever you are more comfortable with. So final results after the calculation should be 2 over 5. As for question 9, okay, the company has at least 9 cars in total. So x plus y more than equals to 6. The company has at least, as for question 9, the company has at least 6 cars in total. So x plus y more than equals to 6. As for the next inequalities, the large car is less than equals to the number of small car, so y less than equals to x. As for the last one, the largest numbers of small car is 8, so x less than equals to 8. And for part B, so 4x plus 6y less than equals to 60. Divide both sides by 2, then you should be able to prove the equation that goes by 2x plus 3y less than equals to 30. So first part, x less than equals to 8, draw the solid line down, and they're referring to the left hand side of the graph. For the next one that I would draw is actually y equals to x. Okay, so I draw down the line in the center, and since it is less than, they are referring to the bottom part. Okay, so now that I have narrowed down the possible region, it is actually a trapezium shape. I then proceed to draw the last two lines there. I first drawn the x plus y more than equals to 6. When x is 0 and when x is 6, it will turn up in y as 6 and 0 respectively. So I drew down the line and they are referring to y more than equals to. So yeah, referring to the top part. Okay, I then further narrow down the shape that we have there. Then the last part, which is 2x plus 3y less than equals to 30. I set when x equals to 0 and x equals to 15, the y should turn out to be 10 and 0. After I drew down the line, I then look at the inequalities. They are looking for y less than equals to. So it is a solid line referring to the bottom left hand corner. So the region that fulfills that requirement will be the one like a diamond shape at the center. Okay, it is actually a pentagon. Question D. Find the numbers of small car and the numbers of large car needed to carry exactly 60%. So for you to fulfill the requirement of 60%, it should be 4 times 6 plus 6 times 6, which is 24 plus 36 equals to 60. So 6 small car and 6 large car will fulfill the duty. So when a company uses 7 cars, what's the largest numbers that can be carried? So I write down all the possible combination, and it turned out to be when the coordinates 4, 3, okay, you will have the highest possible numbers of passenger, which is 34. The rest is 32, 30 and 28 respectively. For this, there's no guide for it. You're required to find out what are the possible combination and run your calculation accordingly. Question 10a. Okay, for the first sequence there, 9, 5, 1, negative 3. Okay, this one is actually an arithmetic sequence, which that each has a common difference that is the same, which is negative 4. So your fifth term, it will automatically turn out to be negative 7. So for you to construct the n terms equation, after obtaining the common difference, you are required to identify the zero term. So for the zero term, you're required to take the first term, add 4 into it, then you get 13. So your n term sequence will be 13 minus 4n. As for the next part, the second here is actually a geometric sequence. So for geometric sequence, you're required to find 2 rows of its difference. Okay, and the last row there must be the same. In our case, it is 2 and 2. With that being proved, you can now proceed to substitute the value into the equation. So 2a equals to the square over there, okay, which is the last row. Your a will be 1. Whereby for the next part, 3a plus b equals to triangle 5. Then substitute your a into it, and you get your b's results as 2. As for the last part, a plus b plus c equals to 4, which is a star there. C's result should be 1. So the n terms formula has been listed as above. Substitute a, b and c's value into it. Then you will get n squared plus 2n plus 1, which after the simplification and factorization, it will turn out to be n plus 1 bracket square. Hence your fifth term, by substituting 5 into it, you get 6 squared as 36. For the last two parts, it is slightly tricky. Okay, so we have 1, 8, 27 and 64. This one is actually n cubed. You can identify it straight away through the trends of it. So 5 to the power of 3 should be 125. As for the last part, I list it down as above: 8, 16 and 32. When n equals to 1, n equals to 2 and n equals to 3. So for this type of question, they have something in common, which is their base. So I turn them into 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4 and 2 to the power of 5 respectively. Then I compare it with the n equals to 1, n equals to 2, n equals to 3. Okay, 2 is the same as they're repeating, so I write down 2 over there first. Then I try to find what's the difference between 1 to 3. So it turned out to be n plus 2. Okay, because at the second sequence, when I add 2 plus 2, you get 2 to the power 4. And for the third one, when I put 3 plus 2, it will be 5. So your n term sequence should be 2 to the power of n plus 2, and your fifth term is actually 2 to the power of 5 plus 2, which is 2 to the power of 7. That turned out to be 128. Question B is something new, which goes by Fibonacci sequence. Okay, so what they're trying to tell you is that let's say we look at the example that was given there. The first two there, 0 plus 1, then your third term should be 1. And for your fourth term, it's actually taking the second plus the third. So 1 plus 1 equals to 2. And for your fifth term, it's actually taking number 3 and number 4. You add them up. So based on this rule that was given at the top, 2 plus 4, you will get your third term as 6. 6 plus 4, you get your fourth term as 10. And 6 plus 10, you get your fifth term as 16. As for the second row here, things to take note is that you are required to trace it back manually. So for you to get to 11, there's tons of possible combination. However, I just tested out my first possible combination, which is 4 plus 7. Then I get 11 straight away. So immediately I know that to get to 4, 1 plus 3 will be 4. So my second term will be 3. As for the last one, okay, this one is slightly tricky. So I actually listed down the possible combination that I've written over there. So unknown minus 1 equals to. So first thing first, for me to get to 1, okay, I know it should be 1 plus 0. So I listed down 1 and 0 over there. Then I try to prove it whether I'm correct or not. So for the fourth term to be 0, it should be negative 1 plus 1. Okay, so my assume was right. Then I proceed with my calculation. Unknown minus 1 equals to 1. The unknown is actually 1 plus 1, which is 2. So my first term here will turn out to be 2. You can see, using the same concept at the front, one of these terms is actually P over Q. So the next terms of this is actually Q at the top. Okay, Q becomes the numerator, and then the denominator is actually P plus Q. And for you to identify the sixth term, you're required to use the example that was given there. Immediately you transfer the 18 up at the top over 11 plus 18, which the result should be 29. So the trickiest question here is actually question 10. Okay, however, if you were to solve it carefully, you shouldn't have any issue to nail this part. Okay, so this is pretty much it for this particular paper. If you have friends that are struggling, feel free to share this video to them, and I wish you all the best in your upcoming examination. Thank you.